Welcome back. Happy Life Results Book Group.
With the author, Stacy McPherson.
Hi guys. We are doing a section in Hero Concept number 4, Ding, and it's Learn Concept 4 from the guide. Learn Concept 4 from the guidebook. And there's a 1, 2, and 3 afterwards. And
Yes.
tomorrow we're going to do a different 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, don't show them. Dang it.
Just not this. It's not to be confused with tomorrow's. Okay, so learn concept number 4 from the guidebook. Questions to ask yourself.
After you learn it.
After you
learn it, right? Yes.
Okay, number 1. How would I think and live differently if I viewed my physiological. How would I think and live differently if I viewed my physiological signals as input?
Number 2. How would this alter my instinctive reactions to them?
Number 3. What would I be capable of in terms of, and then there's a list. And let me read this list. Nutrition, exercise, fear, fatigue, intensity, empathy, etc. Mentally explore your limits and imagine as far and wide as you like. Okay. So how would you think and live differently if you viewed your physiological signals as input?
So, we've heard your story about hunger.
Yep.
So for you, what has been the difference between before when you viewed physiological signal of hunger as not input? What was it before?
Oh, before it was a taskmaster. It was a bossy, screaming, yelling hag that says, you have to eat now or else, and very serious or else things would happen.
Okay. So once that became an input, what happened? How is life now?
So now I choose strategically when to eat and what to eat. Like, I don't use hunger as information to say I have to take action in a certain way. Instead, I use my eating strategy to decide.
So what is the hunger? Where is it in your life? Like, how do you see it?
Every now and again, I notice my stomach's empty, and then I'm like, yes, ketosis.
So you took this imposing, menacing, powerful figure and reduced them to, I might just notice and be happy that I noticed. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say the exception is when I do my 7-day fasts.
Okay.
And that is, I still haven't been able to completely unlink them because I feel like I get weak and lightheaded, and I feel like I might pass out when I do my 7-day fast and I do like physical activity. And I still think some of that, a good portion of it, is my interpretation of the signal still.
Okay. But do you get the same kind of imposing, you have to eat thing?
No.
Okay, so pretty much that monster that used to control your life is gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was a monster.
Okay, I don't want to.
I was abnormal, and I ate small meals like all day long. Every hour and a half to 2 hours, I would eat small meals, and I would pack food with me everywhere I went. And if I didn't have access to food, when I got hungry, I had like 10-15 minutes where if I didn't eat right away, I would start losing my mental focus. I would get weak, I would get hangry, and I would think about nothing except getting food. Like, it was very difficult to have outings, to live life, to...
But at some level, I think that's normal. Maybe not every 1.5 to 2 hours, but I would say, wouldn't you agree that for most people there is a time frame where pretty much people would agree if you don't get food within that time frame, it starts to affect your...
No, even just my class, I just recently took a speech class, and he was talking about how you cannot control your state, because he said, I mean, think about it. If you go more than 6 or 7 hours without food, then ... And he said, you cannot change that. And
so, yes, you just happen to be fortunate enough to have a smaller window to view your reaction to that.
Oh, that's true.
So when you changed it, it was a much more dramatic...
It was so dramatic. I remember one day going the whole day until 7 p.m. and we were hiking all day. And remember we had sat down to eat, and old Stacy would have been so hangry that it would have been like no thought except for getting food.
Don't even talk to me. I just
Yeah.
got to get this food in my.
Yeah, and we had to wait 45 minutes for the meal because it was circumstances made it so that we actually sat in the restaurant and waited 45 minutes for our food. And that whole time, I remember tuning into how good I felt. And then I was like, I remember I said, it's like I'm being so nice to myself.
I love it. Yeah. So I just think, so how would you think and live differently?
Everything's different.
Everything's different now.
Yeah. Now
everything's different.
Like being able to go until 5 p.m. every day to even think about food, like it frees my whole day up.
Yeah, you can think about so many things.
Yeah.
And do so many other things.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah, it's like they say time is one of the, most limited resources. You just gained all of that time.
That's true.
If you could get 500% more life.
I never thought of it that way.
Or 1,000% more life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm healthier. Like my body rejuvenates in those fasting periods. I feel it. I feel like it cleans off all those dead yucky cells, and I feel healthy and alive, and I don't get sick very often. And if I get sick, it's so mild that I can still do all of my normal daily activities, like even exercise, which in the past, if I got sick, it just laid me low. I was just stuck in bed.
And if we ever forget to point this out, Stacy's not saying that fasting is what did this for her. She's saying this is what happened when she changed the way she viewed signals. Then she had the option for her to choose an eating style of her preference.
There you go.
And so if you view your physiological input, if you're able to master this concept, you can decide your preference for your physical health. That's basically, and that's what number 3, right? Okay.
Yes.
So number 2, how did it altered your instinctive reactions? Because before it said do this and you just did it, whatever it was, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then what would I be capable of? So go big and go wide. Like think of all of the amazing things that would be different if you were to have all of these things, this list, and add to the list, anything that's specific to you.
Oh yeah, and it could include, because those physiological signals have to do with fear as well. So speaking on a stage, or taking that big leap to talk to the person that you haven't talked to before, or to bring up something that you have felt it was really important. There are all kinds of situations where your physiological signals are the thing that's stopping you.
Yeah.
So if you can change the way you view those, and so those aren't stopping you, then if you want to take that step, you can acknowledge the input and take it.
That's where it gets really powerful. That's where you see the change, and that's where you see how you're so much more capable. Then you realize
doing things you thought were impossible for you before.
Yeah, and maybe you didn't even realize that it was physiological signals that were holding you back.
Maybe.
So that might be a breakthrough in and of itself.
Cool. Have fun with this, you guys.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
See ya.